Hello and welcome to the Ready for Change audio blog. I'm Christopher Testa, and today I want to talk about expectations. Expectation equals disappointment 100% of the time. Or at least that's what I thought until I figured out the missing ingredient. You see, a good friend of mine once said, or kind of used to say all the time, something that really stuck in my head over the years. Expectation equals disappointment 100% of the time. I could see how he believed that. There's truth in it. Though I always felt something was a bit off. It seemed too finite, too absolute. As time went on, I started to believe that expectations would always lead to letdowns. What I began to notice, however, was that I was constantly letting certain people down when it came to their expectations. I honestly thought I was just broken, dense, or missing something when it came to meeting them and meeting their needs and expectations. I'd often find myself cluelessly realizing that someone was upset with me and had been for some time because I'd somehow failed to meet their expectations. It was so frustrating. I hated letting people down, especially when I thought everything was fine and then boom, nope, you suck. Didn't you know? At least that's how it felt. It was the worst. I couldn't figure out what was going wrong. How was I consistently missing the mark? And then there it was, or there it is, the mark. What mark? It was kind of like playing a game, but not knowing the rules. Like, I don't know, going bowling and the pins are covered, or playing a game that someone else made, but they never took the time to explain the rules. And then being punished for playing it, wrong, because apparently I should just know by now. Be honest. How many times have you dropped that should on someone? You know, they should have done this, or they should know without me having to say so. It's okay, no judgment here. Tell you what, I'll go first. Yeah, I did it. I couldn't help it. I used to should on people all the time. It's what I knew. Somehow I believe that people should just know my needs and wants because of their role in my life. But there's a bit of a trap there. The kind of, I don't know, role trap. By role, I mean, you know, parent, sibling, friend, or partner. As, in your father, you should show up this way, or you're my friend and you should show up that way, or you should just know. What I was really doing was making it mean that they valued me if they guessed correctly. And if they didn't, well, clearly that must mean they don't value me or the relationship. Sound familiar? I imagine most of us have been at least on one end of that scenario or the other, if not both. And maybe, just maybe, that's not such a reasonable expectation. That's when I discovered the missing ingredient in my friend's theory. If the theory was that expectation equal disappointment 100% of the time, then maybe what was missing, that missing ingredient, was communication. Expectation minus communication equals disappointment. If you don't tell people what you need from them, they'll most likely miss the mark. Let's dig into this a bit. In relationships, we tend to create labels: mom, dad, partner, friend, boss, and attach unspoken rules to them. Those rules form over time through our experiences, what we've been taught, what we've witnessed, and what we've absorbed, through media or otherwise. We build a model on how each person should show up for us. The problem? We rarely tell anyone what the model is. Sometimes we don't even know what the rules are ourselves. We create the game and the rules. We invite players, but never explain the rules. And when they play it wrong, I'm doing air quotes, wrong, we suddenly realize what the rules were and assume that they should have known. This all boils down to needs. We all have them. That's part of being human. We need safety, connection, support, empathy, compassion, encouragement, grace, tough love, and acceptance. But we don't need them all at once. Sometimes we need empathy, other times we need a fix. Sometimes we need to be accepted as we are. Other times we need a kick in the pants. The issue isn't that we have needs, it's knowing what those needs are and who we can go to for each one. Okay, so what if we considered an expectation as an uncommunicated need? We all have needs. There's nothing wrong with that. But expressing them, that's where it gets hard. And that's because it takes vulnerability. Expressing needs requires vulnerability, and humans protect vulnerability ferociously. Being vulnerable can be scary. What if my needs are rejected? What if I'm told they're not valid? What if I'm minimized, dismissed, or even gaslit? So, what if that does happen? Now what? Do you just sit in the disappointment, the hurt, and let it consume you? Or could you find some choice in it, some empowerment? Here's the hard question. What will you make that mean? In other words, what do you make it mean if somebody rejects your needs? If your needs are rejected or dismissed, what meaning will you assign about that person or about yourself? Because once you're clear on your needs and your boundaries, it doesn't matter so much what others think. If you communicate responsibly and someone still can't meet your needs, maybe that person just isn't the right one to go to for that particular need. Because let's face it, everybody has needs. Remember, you're not the only one with needs. The other person has needs too. Sometimes we place expectations on others based on their role in our lives without considering whether they actually have the capacity to meet those needs. I once saw a meme that said something to the effect of like, we're all just extras or, NPCs in somebody else's main story. There's something liberating about that idea, don't you think? If we all just, if we're all just trying to fit in and have our needs met, maybe vulnerability doesn't have to be scary. Some people will be able to meet your needs and others won't. You don't have to make it mean anything about that. You don't have to make it mean anything about you or anything more. You just get to learn who you can and maybe who you cannot go to for certain needs. I mean, I get it. It takes radical vulnerability and self-responsibility, and that's easier said than done. I know. It takes daring to mess it up. It takes daring to fail forward. But on the other side of that difficulty, that hurt, that messing it up is growth. And I'm not saying I'll never be disappointed again, but I will have more control over how it happens and what I make it mean. Thank you for joining me in this reflection. And remember, although the journey can be long and a bit messy at times, you're not alone. So dare to mess it up, dare to fail forward. Until next time, ciao!